So when we're looking at the kinds of tourists, we can look at them by the products. That is what we're selling. So KI has some niche branding about its wine industry, its farming and agriculture, and its byproducts like cheese, and it now has a really strong alcohol industry. It has a really strong nature industry. Up until the bushfires, it had a really strong hiking culture. So those are the products that KI is selling. And we can then define those things by active or passive. So tourists are either active, they want to get out there, they want to do things like, when I went to KI, we did the hike around Flinders Chase National Park, which is like 70 kilometers in 5 days. It's very active. Whereas passive is what we did after we finished the 70k hike, and we stayed in a beach hut for 2 days and recovered and laid on the beach, and it was awesome. So tourists will sometimes fall into both groups, but for the most part, they'll be one or the other. We'll also have location preferences, which is relevant for KI because across KI there's different vibes, I guess. So if we're thinking more of a surf coastal location versus the hiking forestry type location. We know KI has different types of tourists who rock up for different amounts of time, so they might just be there for, a day trip would probably be a bit short for KI, but I have actually been on a Tasting Australia thing last year where you flew from Adelaide into Kingscote at about 7 o'clock in the morning. You drove around the island and you did wine tasting and food tasting and had lunch with all these chefs. And then you went and did some other tastings, and then you got onto the plane at 7 o'clock that night and you flew home. It was a huge day, but it was a very successful tourism, activity. Then we're going to talk about our psychographic features, which is basically how they like to interact, and then their economic groups. So DINKS stands for double income, no kids. So I am a DINK because Gary and I both work but don't have any children. SINKS is single income, no kids. So it's just talking about different groups. Empty nesters are people whose children have moved out because they're adults. Boomers are slightly older. Youths are obviously your age group. Backpackers are usually in their early 20s, late teens. So these are all the possible ways we could define tourists. Now, we're not going to go into all of them because they're all a bit crazy, but just so you can have a think about some of this language, we're going to focus on some of the key ones. So LIPA's model is basically saying that when you have an area, what they call the traveller generating region, this is thinking about the people who are coming from your area will want to go to your tourist destination. So let's say people who live in Adelaide will want to go to KI, and they will basically be appealed to by different things. Ooh, too far. Basically the idea is that if you make your advertisement appeal to the traveller generating region, they will want to come to the tourism region. And once you get to the tourism region, if you make it the best possible place that you can, they will then go home and tell all their friends and family how awesome it was and help create more tourism. The next model is looking at the idea of how people engage with their surroundings, basically. So there will be different types of people who want different things from their tourism. So at this end, we've got the discoverers, right? So they want to get out there, they want to bush bash. They're probably the ones who are driving out to the middle of the outback on some crazy adventure. At the other end, got the dependables. They want everything sorted for them. Nice hotel breakfast.